Welcome to Merschman Seeds Cup of Joe. On this episode, Joe explains our no substitutions or its free guarantee policy applicable to the hybrid only, not weight or grade. Dylan shares updates on production and germ quality, including specific germ results for our Merschman PowerCore Enlist 2512C-30. Ben breaks down our starting line corn seed treatment and continues last week's discussion on soil moisture. Joe also recaps key takeaways from an Ag Outlook seminar he attended this past week.
Hi, this is Joe Merschman. Welcome to Merschman Seeds Cup of Joe. Today we have Ben, Lynn, and Dylan. And Ben, I believe you're going to start first.
Yeah, so at the time of filming here, Friday morning, the markets have definitely shown some green movement, so movement in the right direction. So just as a reminder, this time of year, whether it be weather-related, Brazil-related, Iran-related, we don't know whether these markets are going to hold for any prolonged amount of time, so definitely looking really close at either unloading some of old crop or potentially getting some of these closer to profitable numbers locked in potentially for new crop. So
I sold this morning, so it's going to the moon now. I'm officially out, so.
Well, you know, the commodities are commodities, whether it be oil or corn, soybeans, you know, they follow each other. And right now we have an artificial movement upwards. And the question is, how much higher is it going to go before it stabilizes again? So that's probably the opportunity right now for farmers. I know we're all not happy about gas prices going up. We're not happy about energy prices and, you know, the whole thing going up. But the reality of it is creating some marketing opportunities.
Yeah, 100%. And like at one point in time this morning, we were looking at wheat up 30 cents. So that wheat market, we're not playing in the sevens yet, but definitely some opportunity to potentially market some new crop wheat that's coming out.
Yeah, and some of the wheat stuff that's somewhat interesting is that might, listening to some talking heads, might actually have some play where that could be a real phenomenon, not just a geopolitical issue. Ukraine has some issues with their wheat crop, and obviously the southern plains, high plains are having some drought-related stresses, and that's predominantly where a lot of our winter wheat's grown. So for the folks more to the east of that are now, you know, as of filming, we catch some really nice rains and had a fairly mild winter. It can be really profitable if that, post green up, we get a little bit of a evaluation of what's out there. There's some momentum gaining there on that. There could be some potential issues with the domestic wheat crop on not being as big as what they predicted.
Yeah, 100%. So pay attention. Don't be afraid to lay some stakes in the ground on what potentially could be more profitable than what we've been looking at the past 30, 60, 90 days in the past. So that was the first one on my list here. There's a lot of talk in the industry right now about corn substitutions that are happening. I heard a rumor, and that's just what it is a rumor, that one company had to substitute 250,000 bags of seed corn this year. And the reasons being that corn is moving around. Some cotton acres have changed, or cotton acres are not going to be put into production. So they're potentially going to be needing more corn acres to the mid-south is one of the reasons. I've heard germ issues from other customers. It's not just one company, and then I heard a rumor that number was actually 350,000 bags that had to be substituted from one individual customer. So a couple of things to be thinking about when that substitution happens. Know as much about the product that they are substituting as possible. You've made your decision on which product that you want for a reason. So know how that product fails grain, know what that product substitutions, know what the disease scores and the potential fallbacks, and make any production plan changes associated with what that happens. Now,
Ben, you're being too nice.
I am being a little nice.
I'm going to tell it to you like it is. As a seed company owner, there's no excuse for substitutions. Zero. And that's why we give the guarantee. We say, if we make a substitution with the hybrid, not the grade or the weight, the substitution is free. To date, we have never given a free bag of seed corn away. To date. And why anyone would deal with a company that knows their production in the fall, knows what everything's going to be, and then come in March and substitute with you, it is total disrespect for you as a customer. And we can take care of you right now, give you our best hybrids, with the best seed treatment, and Dylan's going to tell you how good our quality is, and you don't have to worry about those things. The last thing you should do is order seed early, put your money down, and then not get what you want. That's ridiculous.
No, I agree. And there are a lot of reasons for wanting to do business with Merschman seeds, and that's just another one, because we know exactly, basically from September,
correct,
give or take, we have estimates even before that going into out of the production fields. We know that you're going to get 90% a contract or 70% a contract or 110% a contract. We know those numbers as we get closer to the harvest time. So
yeah, the only thing is not totally clear is the germ, but again, you can go by the year. In other words, you can go if it's a normal type year, germs are normally good, but it's usually when you get extreme wet or extreme dry, you can see some issues. But as a general rule, you diverse your production, and there's just no excuse for it. And what's going on with those companies is sales is ran by one group, and they don't talk to production. Well, right here is sales and production, so they're talking to each other all the time, and that's the difference. It's a total disrespect to their customers, in my opinion.
So what did the production look like this year, Dylan?
Yeah,
germ standpoint.
So for germs for this point, going into production last year, they ended on a dry year, but it did not affect any of our final lot germs that we came back. So that's the quality that we have. It's the highest possible quality, and on all of our production, this is strictly on production that we had for this year. So the 2506, 2411, 2512, the conventional 2512, 2413 C30, and then also the conventional of the 113 day. The lowest warm germ we had was a 96, was the lowest warm. That is really, really good. And it bounced over all
That's
over.
one lot within that
particular
hybrid mix that we're talking about.
Yep. So, like example, the 2512, the lowest, this is large rounds, large flats, all grade sizes in there. Our lowest in 2512 was a 97. It doesn't matter if we're going from a large round or large flat down to a small, medium, they're all germing extremely well, extremely high. They're balancing anywhere from, 97, 98, 99, all in there. And then we go over to saturated cold, which is the 40 degree temperature on a germ. So it's
the toughest test that you can put on corn. I mean, the standard cold test is one test, but the saturated cold is another level tougher.
Yeah, those numbers bounce a little bit more, but our lowest there was a 90. So that's extremely well. The same thing there, going from whatever grade. There's nothing big between a small and a large, or anywhere in between. So all of the quality, all grades are exceptional quality. They're all fantastic germs. Our treatment is helping it, a ton. So just another reason to, maybe give our corn a look if you haven't, or continue to move on our corn lineup.
I was just talking to a farmer last night, and he was telling me when he likes to plant early, and he said that the Merschman corn comes up first. He said it came up first last year, and he said I'm planting more this year just because of that aspect of it. So that's a good testimonial about the seed treatment package we're putting on. I mean, Ben, I know you got a special fungicide on there that helps in cold conditions, and a lot of companies don't put that on because, it costs money, and we look at it and say, why not, if we can get that? Because we know farmers want to plant early, and uniformity is really important in corn. Totally, very, very important.
Yeah, I'm very excited for our seed treatment package. We're going year 3 into this, and I think we have a premium seed treatment that protects us against the pythiums and the different fungal diseases. We have a nematicide in the package as well with the Trinemco. We have Tripidity. We have that additional fungicide for the cold weather. So we are literally doing everything in our power to make sure that we can get excellent stand establishment, which is the first and most important key when you're looking at high yield, getting that corn out of the ground uniformly and very quickly.
why we're so excited about the saturated cold germ versus some of the other standards is to that point. If you're going to be out there, what the industry tends to do is give you the warm germ on the tag. So if you look at the warm germ on the tag, and you see the industry standard 90% germ.
Well, I think it's 95 pretty much on corn.
Yeah, and so what could happen? And I think we have to go back into the coffers a little bit and listen to Yield 360. Help me with the Sauter. Greg Sauter. He has an excellent study that they did on it in a particular hybrid. He always tests his seed that he plants for his own acres for the saturated cold germs because they are latitudinally probably pretty similar to us. Can deal with some wet, cool weather post-plant, either at planting or post-planting. And for some reason, the lot came in late or box came in late, didn't get it tested, and went out and planted it just based on the assumption that everything else was fine. And I think it ended up coming back it was like a 45 germ after they went back and had some extra seed and tested it. And abject disaster when it came to the infield setting. So why we tout the saturated cold germ, because it's a completely different animal when you're looking at that. If your seed is not handled in a correct manner, seed treatment obviously not helping in parallel. So when our conditions that we plant in early, the saturated cold germ is the germination standard that you need to be looking at, not the warm germ that's on the tag.
Yeah, and by law, seed companies are only required to do the warm germ, and the other tests are not something that we put on the tag or anything, and we're not required to put it on the tag, but we pay attention to it because we want to sell high quality seed. So there are some differences in varieties too, as far as vigor. We know our 111 day is probably the fastest for jumping out of the ground. So if you're like a super early planter, you take high quality seed, you take a variety that has a really strong vigor, like our 111 day, you get two things going for you. So there is differences in varieties as far as vigor, but the germ, we got to feel good about our germs, and that's because we work with really good folks that know how to do production. They are masters at doing production, and I'm not saying the other companies aren't either, but we can only speak for us.
Yeah, it's a good lineup because to Joe's, there's phenomenal hybrids from competition, but if they don't have that saturated cold germ that's there, you're going to have to leave it on the shelf and wait till your temperatures come back, because otherwise, and we love to win, don't get me wrong, but in that fight, it's not a fair comparison if you have a hybrid that doesn't have that cold tolerance right off the bat. You just might have to be a little more patient when it comes to the planting decision, which is not state of Iowa, state of Illinois. If you wait long enough, those right conditions will show up. It's not like you're going to be too far extended, but you do probably miss here locally. I think last year that is one of the almost one determining factors on how high the yield was with corn. Was a vast majority of our guys that set the best yield ever was in that first window that got planted, and it was a 3-day window. And extremely, I wouldn't say questionable. It was good, but we had some conditions that came after that. And if you would have had a saturated cold germs into the 50s or 60s, that would have wreaked havoc on the stand. So,
and just to give our audience again a little bit more background, a standard germ, high quality seed is 82 was a standard germ, 82. In other words, in the industry, if you were going to trade seed lots or something, nobody wants to see one below 82 with a standard cold. Saturated again, there's really nothing that I know of that really sets a number that I've heard that says they got to be this or not. But I can tell you on the cold germ, 82. Anything below 82, you probably shouldn't sell it.
Good to know for sure. The last thing that I had on my list here is weather. I know I talked about it last week just a little bit, but the forecasts are coming true. We have seen rain in our sales geography at this point in time. I think it was like 3 weeks ago we were talking, there's parts of southern Illinois that needed like 9 to 13 inches of rain to catch up over the next 6 months, and it looks like they're definitely getting that. The 2-week forecast looks fairly wet here, so
I can't confirm it rained at 2 a.m. this morning.
There you go. Well,
Came out of the east, so it was thumping on the windows last night.
The soil recharge is definitely something that's going to be important for getting us through July. I was looking at a soil moisture profile from Iowa State, and it was saying here locally we are good at the 0 to 4 inch root zone. We are okay at the next level down, that 4 to 2 foot range, but we definitely need some moisture to get that subsoil recharged, and it's coming. It's here, and hopefully it gives us enough in time for early planting and gives us an open window. So
it'd be interesting to see how it plays out again, because we're almost in a mini trend, I guess, where we get that kind of get a little bit of nervousness going into the spring. We kind of fill our coffers and get some extendedness and then catch a little bit of timely rain, but at the end of the season, pardon the pun, but the well goes dry. So we're kind of in that another pattern again, where this winter we really weren't all that wet locally with our moisture situation, obviously with the deficits showing up. So we're getting the big rains right now, and it'd be interesting to see if we're on a third year window. So if that's the case and you're here locally, get those planters ready to go. So when that window hits in April, it's been fruitful.
100%.
I have actually this past week attended a seminar put on by Hills Bank up by Iowa City called the Ag Outlook, and they typically bring in some really good speakers to help farmers do a good job on the financial side of their business. And I just kind of hit some of the sound bites that may hit home for you. The first speaker was Adam Hawker, and he's kind of a future profits consulting type guy, and I think, we talked about the markets and waiting is not a strategy in farming or business. I mean, that's the key. So make profitability a system, and I think, forecast your production realistically, know your costs, and manage your margins intentionally, and adjust to conditions and execute consistently. So those are some of his key sound bites. And one of the things that he talked about is the typical marketing plan for some farmers. When the market's going up, it's called greed. In other words, I want more and more and more. And then when you get to the peak, it's hope. And then as it goes down, then it's called fear. So hopefully you're not a greed, hope, and fear marketing person. So be careful there. And then we also had an attorney, Travis Schroeder, from a big firm that does a lot of business tax and estate planning. And his first thing he says, the good old days are gone. It's got to be in writing, and you got to plan for the worst and hope for the best in today's farming environment when it comes to farms and estate planning. And communication to the family is very important. And remember, things are not equal in many cases. And simple is not always the best was one of his sound bites. And I thought here was very interesting. Don't put two kids together that don't get along when it comes to being your executor or anything in that capacity. The key thing I remember him saying is, you got to go through all the details, you got to plan out all the scenarios to make sure whatever it is that you have in your state that you want to do it the way you want, because things change, constantly change. Janelle Johnson's one of the Hills Bank commercial banking bankers, and very experienced. And he said, if you're going to go to get a loan, I mean, most farmers know this. You need a balance sheet, you need a tax return, and cash flow projections. And this is really a good soundbite. Hire for your weakness. As a farmer or as a business person, you can't be really good at everything. And whatever it is that you don't like to do or you're not very good at, hire somebody that is expert in that area. And that was her advice. And then she said, when it comes to AI, it's coming in really fast right now. She said, if you're going to do something with AI, don't use the free stuff, because it puts all your stuff out there in the internet world. Said, pay for a subscription if you're going to do it, so it's private. And she also mentioned about fraud. Fraud is, you've got to check your account balances daily. You got to be watching, because check fraud, And all of this is really, really bad. And if there's a way that you can do business without writing checks, they highly recommend it. And then the last guy was Andrew Pritchard, who's a weather risk communicator. And like all weather guys, they could build a scenario for a lot of things, but we're going out of La Nina and we're going to El Nino, and that could potentially be more storms this summer and more rain. And basically, when they got all said and done, they built a case this way and a case that way, and then, we really don't know. But yeah, it was still always interesting to listen to weather. So that was a great seminar. My good friend and former General Sales Manager Turk Rigginator and I attended it and had a good time and had some great oatmeal cookies, I can tell you that. Well, if we don't have anything else, I'll go ahead and put you to the misery part of today's episode, and that's the corny jokes. With all the rain, and spring comes and everything, we typically see rainbows, and I don't know if you knew this, but scientists have weighed rainbows, and they found that they are pretty light. I thought it was kind of funny. Anyhow, here's one today. My car, it's got a lot of different gadgets on it and whatnot. So anyhow, cars today, in my opinion, got way too many options. I tried to back up with mine the other day, and it showed a video of me running someone over. I don't know what the deal was on that one. But anyhow, the other one, they accuse me of snoring once in a while, Well, apparently I snore so loudly that it scares everyone in the car while I'm driving. This one here. Teacher says, what's the difference between complete and finished? Student raises his hand. If you marry the right person, you're complete. If you marry the wrong person, you're finished. Now, I'll end the episode today with some advice. 2 things to make your day better, okay? Don't watch the news and stay off the bathroom scales. Anyhow, thanks for watching today. We hope your family is safe and healthy, and we'll see you next week. Take care.